afternoon. This WOL Traffic Update is sponsored by Compassion International on this rainy Tuesday before Thanksgiving on the Beltway. Now, inner loop very slow from Rockville Pike 355 to the accident after Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring. 2 left lanes there are closed. Then the inner loop is slow most of the way down from New Hampshire Avenue to Ritchie Marlboro Road. Outer loop slows northbound from Ritchie Marlboro Road to Greenbelt Metro, and then from New Hampshire Avenue all the way around to 355. Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. Now your WOL weather forecast for today. Rain, a high near 55. Rain ends overnight down to 53. For tomorrow, partly cloudy and a high near 60. Right now, D.C., it's raining and 46 degrees. Steve Hirschhorn for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
All right, welcome back to Igniting Change with Barbara Arnwine. I'm attorney Daryl Jones, the co-host as well as the board chair of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and we're so excited that you've decided to spend your Tuesday afternoon here on Iconic WOL listening to Igniting Change Radio. Folks, we have been joined today by attorney Ryan Thompson out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who's been telling us about the Brave Cave that's there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the actions and the efforts that he and attorney Jessica Hawkins have taken to be certain that the officers who were taking unsuspecting citizens of Baton Rouge, black citizens primarily, to that Brave Cave and unlawfully, unconstitutionally, and mistreating them. So just, major thanks to attorney Ryan Thompson for the efforts that he's been taking. Major thanks also to Judge Alexander Williams, who's been here bringing it from the bench, giving it from the federal level, telling you from the practical experiences of having been a local prosecutor, elected local prosecutor, having been on the circuit, been on the U.S. District Court bench, having been in private practice, and just being an outstanding jurist and professor of law. This is what we've been talking about today. Attorney Thompson, if people want to get in contact with you, what is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Sir, again, you can find me on Instagram. It's all together, Ryan Keith Thompson. To contact me, I try to respond to all DMs as they call them, the young folks call them. You can also contact me at rktsocialjustice@gmail.com. I respond to all emails typically within 48 to 72 hours. If I don't, believe me, it's either I'm doing something legally related to some type of legal service or taking some family time. So please don't hold that against me. If I could, really quick, you just touched on something. I want to be clear. All of the individuals who were taken to the Brave Cave were black. Again, if you go to my Instagram, there is a press conference that was held by the chief of police where he stated that he wasn't militarizing an entire community, just certain zip codes. And again, that was a press conference that was held nearly a year before this came to light, where he talked about there would be increased canine presence, drone presence, military presence, style vehicles in certain zip codes in this community. So to me, the judge talked about that pattern and practice, that intent. That indeed shows the intent that they were specific about targeting black communities, black zip codes in the Baton Rouge area.
Wow. And Judge Williams, the same question to you with regards to how to get in contact with you, but I'd also like you to address that, one of the things that was being pushed forward in a Justice and Policing Act was to try to have officers that had bad conduct listed so that folks would know that if this officer is charging somebody or is involved in a case, that there's some questionable activity that's in the officer's past. Do the actions and the efforts of what we know right now of those officers that were involved in the Brave Cave that have not been either fired, and I don't think any have been charged from what I understand at this point in time, is that an example of why we need this type of Justice and Policing Act, Judge Williams? Judge, are you on? Hopefully, Judge Williams. Well, we can hear you now. Yes, Judge. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. there's a number of progressive prosecutors around the country who are now developing lists of officers that they will not call and officers who have been involved in this type of behavior. And transparency has to take place from that standpoint. People need to understand what's going on here. And I want to, again, applaud Attorney Jones and Barbara Arnwine for bringing these issues up. These are powerful issues that the public certainly needs to know. And back to that issue on the voting, again, the efforts being made to water down the Voting Rights Act. And so what we have discussed here today is so important. And I want to say I'm retired now, but those of you who need to contact me, I have a policy center called the Judge Alexander Williams Jr. Center for Education, Justice, and Ethics. And I'm affiliated with the University of Maryland in College Park there. So just go online. You can look up my center and get in contact with me if you have any questions or if I can be of further assistance on these very, very critical issues, particularly in this brutality and this excessiveness.
And Barbara, I know that with what Judge Williams just laid out and talking about the importance of the Voting Rights Act and the actions we just saw happen in the Eighth Circuit, they sort of dovetail here together, don't they?
Let's talk about that, everyone, because it's so important what Attorney Thompson just said earlier about the fact that in Louisiana there's been a redistricting case that has gone back and forth to the Supreme Court, and most recently the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals made sure to find that it was important for the legislature, which had been defiant, like the Alabama legislature. We've been covering the Alabama case a lot, to comply with their with the order of the district court, meaning that they got to draw some new districts that hopefully expand and have more representation for African Americans. Now, remember, everything we're talking about is a lawsuit. We are talking about what Attorney Thompson and Hawkins have been doing through filing lawsuits. Well, guess what? The Eighth Circuit yesterday, which covers South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Arkansas, and other, states, found that you cannot bring a lawsuit under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act to challenge any illegal discriminatory voting practice if you are a private entity, that right to sue only belongs to the government. Do you see how wrong that is, everyone? That without our having this ability to file a private right of action, to file a lawsuit when we see injustice would run rampant. So it is so critical that everyone listening, that you right now get on your social media, get on whatever you have available, and start calling start calling not only the Department of Justice, not only your senators, but also if you're in certain states like Louisiana, states like Georgia, states like Utah, states like Alabama, where the attorney generals actually filed amicus briefs, meaning friends of the court briefs, saying that they wanted the court to make it illegal for people to bring private lawsuits. 14 states did so. 14, and 7 of those right now have some kind of, like South Carolina, they have some kind of redistricting case going on right now. Folks, these people are taking your money and illegally using it to fight your right to vote. Don't sit back. Don't be complacent. This is a time for us to join up together and to fight. Right, Daryl? We got to fight, Judge Williams. We got to fight, Attorney Thompson. We can't sit back. You can bet that you can count on the Transformative Justice Coalition to be talking soon with the Department of Justice about what's going on in Baton Rouge. You can count on us to be very strident and loud about these states that are misusing funds to deny the rights of their own citizens to have the right to vote and for fair representation in their politics. You can count on us to do this work and to mobilize our incredibly brilliant young people who work with us, ages 18 to 35, all over the country in this fight for our right to vote. Right, Daryl?
Absolutely, Barbara. And folks are asking the question, why do we think it's so important that the Attorney General not be the only entity to be able to bring these types of challenges under Section 2? Well, let us tell you, in the last 40 years, there have been 182 Section 2 cases that have been brought, Section 2 Voting Rights Act violations that have been brought. Of those 182 cases that have been brought over the last 40 years, less than 10% have been brought by the Attorney General's office. They've all been brought by private citizens. If it's brought by the Attorney General, it means it's at the whim of the Attorney General. If the Attorney General doesn't want to bring actions, they will ignore it. And your right to vote will be denied, will be impaired by it. So that's why it's important that we fight this Section 2 ruling that's out of the Eighth Circuit. As Barbara said, we're going to be on the ground in Arkansas when they argue that case. We're going to be on the ground before the en banc, meaning the entire circuit court there in Arkansas. We'll be there for that fight. And folks, we say it, and we say it again. There comes a time when you've got to get off the sidewalk, get into the street, make your march to the ballot box, and be certain that your voice is heard. That time is now. This Eighth Circuit decision is our current Edmund Pettus Bridge moment, and we've got to address it. Is that right, Barbara?
Absolutely. There would be no Voting Rights Act without private citizen action. That's why there is a private right of action. This case is horrible, Judge Williams, Attorney Thompson. If you had the displeasure of reading it, it's horrid. So people, let's stand up for the rights. Let's be John Lewis. It is time to fight. We will not give up. Peace, love.
Make it across that bridge, everybody. Peace, everybody. Peace.
News Talk 1450 WOLAM, where information is power.
The Age of Reason took place over 200 years ago. It was a time of amazing scientific and philosophical progress all over the world. Truth, reason, and tolerance thrived and even shaped the Constitution of the United States of America, the foundation of our democracy. But now those building blocks of America, of democracy, are under attack. In just 2 decades, big tech social media billionaires have allowed their platforms to roll back truth, facts, and tolerance, and fill the screens in our homes and in our pockets with lies and hate. Online disinformation and hate affect everything, everyone, everywhere. It splits us apart, hurts our children, polarizes our societies, and is literally leading to violence and terror in our communities. Lies and hate everywhere are a threat to all people, anywhere. Be a part of the change. Help defend the future of our democracy. Go to counterhate.com to learn more.
The Barnes in Philadelphia invite everyone to Petco Free for Sunday Family Day on Sunday, December 3rd. Every first Sunday of the month, families and friends can enjoy free art making, music, and performances, talk, story time, and other fun activities, plus access to see Cezanne, Matisse, Van Gogh, Picasso, and thousands of artworks in the Barnes collection, as well as free admission on special exhibitions and more. Free advance registration available starting the Thursday before the first Sunday of the month. Day of limited walk-up tickets will be available at the box office on 20th and Ben Franklin Parkway. The Barnes. See art differently.
WOL Washington, D.C. W240DJ Washington. 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda. WKYS HD3 Washington. WPRS HD3 Waldorf and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.